Hey guys, welcome back. We are doing another fun episode where I get to talk about something that I've seen in theaters recently and just kind of yap spoiler free. So, I'm super excited to hop right into this one, but before we do, I know this is not the video you guys would be expecting to come out next. I have been working super duper hard and I put tons and tons of hours into my Pokemon Ranked video that's coming up. Pokemon movies ranked, not all the Pokemon. And I'm having a little bit of trouble with the copyright issues on YouTube. At the moment, I'm trying to make sure that it will actually be live and waiting to hear back from several copyright disputes that are still left up in the air at the moment. There's still several days left on those, so I'm really not sure when that video is going to come out. But in the meantime, I figured I'd keep doing these small fun videos that I just kind of do as the filler in between my longer scripted videos. But without further ado, this time we are talking about So this is an interesting one, because this time I really wanted to step in here and talk about this because I was surprised, and not surprised in a good way. I've always been a huge Coen Brothers fan, even their solo projects for what I'd seen. I think Tragedy of Macbeth is fantastic, one of my favorite Shakespeare adaptations, and I enjoyed Drive Away Dolls quite a bit. I thought it was very funny and took some unique risks that I wasn't expecting. So, as kind of a follow-up movie to Drive Away Dolls, Margaret Qualley in Honey Don't, unfortunately surprised me in just how bad it was compared to Drive Away Dolls. Drive Away Dolls to me is probably like a 3.5, which I think is pretty decent. It's not my favorite, but it's not bad. And I was hoping that this would at least match that. And I came out of the theater like really kind of mad about the experience that I had. I yapped the whole way back home about the fact that I was kind of baffled at what I had just seen. So, spoiler free as possible, I'm going to talk about kind of why. But first, let's talk about some of the positives about this movie, because there are a lot of things to like about this movie and a lot of things that I did like about this movie. The direction is still really good. I think Ethan Coen, as much as he kind of gets a bad rep next to Joel, who is kind of at this point considered the more prestige of the two of them, has incredibly good directorial chops, and this movie definitely feels that. It has a very unique vibe that it's going for, and all of the performances you can really feel had strong direction behind them. It's really quite solid, and that's part of the reason I found it so disappointing, because the direction is there, the idea is there, and I know Ethan Coen has it in him. The performances I also really enjoyed. Margaret Qualley's fantastic. Chris Evans, when he's actually on screen, is really fun. Aubrey Plaza is pretty fun, despite me not liking where they take her character. The cast is having a really good time making this movie. I love that Charlie Day is here. Charlie Day is just like a bit character, but his bit is really funny, and I'm always happy to see Charlie Day in a movie. So, yeah, the performances and the direction are really good. I would say the visuals, even of this movie, are quite unique and welcoming. One of my friends who actually ended up really liking this movie, contrary to me, commended this movie a lot for being kind of a good capturing of like a middle class movie that knows it's a middle class movie and doesn't try and like romanticize the kind of poverty of the town that's there, and just playing it very much how it is. And I can really appreciate that. I think the vibe that you get through the opening credits carries you through a lot of the rest of this movie, and you can kind of get a sense that it's trying, we'll get to that later, to have something to say about this place, about this town, about this time, about this economic sphere. But it doesn't exactly do that in my opinion, but it actually looks rather good. I love the set design, I love the colors, I love the lighting. The editing in this movie is also really solid. It's snappy, it's funny, it's quick. It's really like all the technical stuff is really good about this movie, which makes the negatives even harder for me, because obviously Ethan Coen knows how to make a good movie. He's worked on so many fantastic projects. And so, it disappoints me to say that almost every negative feeling I took away from this movie is all to do with the writing. The writing, in my opinion, is the biggest flaw of this movie. And while I think it's really cool that Trisha Cook and Ethan Coen are working on these projects together and kind of brainstorming new things and trying new things, I think that's awesome. I just think this was a miss, which is okay. I want to put that out there. It's okay for somebody to have a miss. Somebody like Steven Soderbergh puts out tons of indie films, and like 50% of them are actually good, and he's a really fantastic director. That's just how this stuff goes sometimes. But I was not prepared for the really kind of slap in the face of how this writing was. From the instant it got started, you really felt like it had to be leading somewhere with how it's paced. It's scene to scene, paced incredibly fast. You barely get any time in most scenes to rest in any moment. I think there's one scene where Honey is like driving around, and that's the only scene that feels like you actually get to settle into that scene for any time at all. Everything else about this is just going and going and going and going, and there's almost no setup for any of the characters. By the end of this movie, I don't really know Honey O'Donoghue that much. I know about her in theory, but we don't even get to see her do much detective work or speak with anyone outside of plot important characters, which is really kind of just disappointing for how it portrays her as a person. I don't feel like I know her. And this is doubly true for almost every other character, because pretty much every other character feels like a bit character. Aubrey Plaza is the other character with the most writing, and even she isn't in that much. There's a lot of side stories thrown this way and that with Chris Evans' character, the French lady, her niece, her sister, all of these different side pieces, but we never get to really feel like we know any of these people because of a lack of setup and a lack of time actually spent on them, which you'd think means that it's really plot heavy. I mean, this is a mystery movie, right? It's some kind of noir, a neo-noir more or less. I've seen a ton of these, so you'd think, oh, it's going for the mystery, it's going for the intrigue, it's going for all this instead of focusing on characters, which would be fine, but the plot and the mystery sucks. It's really, really surprising because almost no mystery gets solved in this entire movie. Honey is a private detective, and she never even officially takes a case within this movie. She's kind of bouncing around on favors, hunches, and suspicion for no apparent reason, and things get dropped like nobody's business. I don't want to get into too many spoilers about it, but the Chris Evans story more or less just gets dropped, despite it seeming like the most important pressing mystery going on. There are constantly people getting killed that don't really matter, and by the end, what they all tie to doesn't make any thematic sense to me. It doesn't make any plot cohesion sense, and it feels like it's just throwing stuff out there. The stuff with her dad, the stuff with Aubrey Plaza, all of this stuff is just getting thrown out there, one after another, and none of it is tying together into anything about Honey, into anything I could pick up on about its themes, or to any kind of cohesive mystery. Like, this is a mystery in the same sense that, like, Naked Lunch is a mystery, you know? I came out of this movie and it really annoyed me. Like, genuinely, I was annoyed at the ending of this movie. And on the way home, I genuinely compared it, and although I think it's a little harsh, I would kind of back that up, that this writing, this actual plotting, the only thing that I can think of similar to it in recent years is the Minecraft movie, and I'm not even joking. That same sense of just cut to the next thing, cut to the next thing, cut to the next thing that the Minecraft movie has going on, I felt during this movie. Like in the Minecraft movie when they're like, we gotta get the thing from the chest on the 3rd floor, and the kid's like, well, maybe we can build up, and then they just don't, and then it's a whole thing, and then they just leave. That's how this entire movie feels. It feels like they're like, we can solve the mystery, and then they just don't, and then they do something else completely unrelated, and then it's over. It's just kind of a mess, and I wish I could say that it had thematic cohesion for me, you know? Like, I get what it was kind of going for. You can think of this in line with something like Inherent Vice. Inherent Vice is another movie that is a neo-noir, a comedy, and doesn't fully make a ton of sense. Or even The Big Lebowski, something that of course Ethan Coen worked on. These movies are good and they are funny, but they are kind of so an actual trackable plot. Things get kind of thrown around and dropped. But those, and even Drive Away Dolls, the previous movie by Trisha and Ethan, have some form of drive. In Drive Away Dolls, they picked up the wrong car and there's something in the trunk, so people are after them. Boom. Nice, simple, while they're on a road trip for their own reasons. Very cool. Gives us forward momentum. In The Big Lebowski, somebody peed on his rug, so now he's got to figure out who, and he gets tangled up in this big mystery. It's something, he's just trying to get his rug back the entire movie. It's very dumb, but it works, it's some kind of story drive. In Inherent Vice, somebody he cares about has gone missing, so he's trying to figure out why, even though this sends him in all sorts of crazy directions and is purposefully kind of confusing. It still has forward momentum, forward drive, forward feeling. I don't know what this movie is about. I really don't. Like, plot-wise, what can you say? It's about her investigating somebody who died in a car crash? Well, that doesn't really go anywhere. Is it about her slice of life journey through all of these chaotic vignettes? Maybe, but it leaves perspective from her a lot as a character, if that's what it's trying to do, and I ultimately don't feel like I know her that well. I don't know Honey's goals or wants or needs, other than that she likes to hook up with people on a very low commitment basis and likes to solve mysteries and be kind of a straight man for her family, which is kind of funny given that she's lesbian. And even like the lesbian aspects of this movie are very understated, which isn't inherently a bad thing. I think that's just fine to have a character that just so happens to be lesbian, but it leads to some like weird moments of like humor that I think are strange, or at least that just didn't land very well for me. Like when Honey goes to beat up the guy in the trailer and she slaps the bumper sticker on, it felt very like social media lesbian, honestly, which is not a compliment per se, but I don't know, it's just a really weird movie, and I felt it was totally disjointed. None of it came together, and it's all because the writing, in my opinion. It just feels like nothing. I could genuinely tell you so little about this movie because so little feels like it's going on, although I could still describe to you like every scene. It's not the worst movie in the world by any means, but it has to be one of the most disappointing theater watches I've had in a long time, where when it hit the final shot, I was just like, okay, cool. It's not as funny as it could be. It has almost no mystery despite seeming to be trying to be a neo-noir mystery. It's got almost no compelling characters despite me really wanting to like Honey. Like Honey O'Donoghue is like such a character that I would think is cool, but I just don't know her that well. It's not even a situation where it's like, well, I'll get to see her in the next one. She's not written as like a serialized detective. The next movie in this trilogy is going to be completely unrelated other than Margaret Qualley and lesbians. So, I don't know. I came out and my first thought was like, it's like, what if Love Lies Bleeding was really boring? Like, it's so nothing. And maybe I missed something. Maybe you watched this and like my friend Yossi, who I really respect his views and his opinions, and I read his very long review, and I kind of see where he's coming from. And maybe you enjoyed this movie. Maybe you had a great time. But for me, this was a major disappointment, even next to Drive Away Dolls, which I wasn't 100% sold on. I gave this movie a 2 out of 5, and I was just not having a good time. I can't exactly suggest it, but of course, watch it yourself, form your own opinion. I just thought it would be interesting to come on here and talk about, since I really wanted to like it, especially being that I think it's really important for directors to continue to experiment and kind of push the boundaries. I think it's cool that Joel and Ethan are doing different projects and kind of working on their own things and own style, and I love the fact that it's like Ethan and his wife writing these movies together and like trying something new. I think that's awesome, and I would love to support these movies 100% in what they're doing, but I was just kind of left with nothing memorable. nothing that I enjoyed that much, and the only things that I did engage with kind of annoyed me. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope that we can get that new video out soon. I'm really excited about it coming out. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and that's why I'm really trying to put a lot of work into getting it past copyright so I can put out the best version of it that I can. But in the meantime, I'll continue whenever I have time making fun small little videos like this. If you enjoyed my opinions, my thoughts, maybe even just my face, please tell me something you've watched recently that's good, comment it below, and consider, of course, subscribing and or joining the membership. I would love to be able to do this more full time, and any support you guys give me helps with that a lot. It's super late. I'm super tired. I've been super busy. I don't know when I'm going to put out another video save for the Pokemon video because I've got Dragon Con next week, which is going to be awesome. I don't know if this will come out before then, but if you're there, I'll be around. And then after that, in a couple weeks, I'll be headed back to Europe. So you'll see more about that, I'm sure, as we go forward. But I've really enjoyed doing this channel. I always do. And I hope even on these more negative kind of goofy videos, you guys still enjoy my thoughts and opinions, because I enjoy yapping them into your ear. But I love you all, and good night.